right. We're off to the races. Welcome, welcome everybody. Folks are streaming into the room here. And if I'm not mistaken, should be live on Facebook as well. So we'll look forward to hearing about how true that is. And for those of you just showing up, welcome. If you're on Zoom, then please do jump down into the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. While you're down there, make sure to change the drop down from all panelists to say all panelists and attendees. It's a little blue thing right above the message box. And that will allow us to all interact here. Steve's coming in from Bonnie Doon. Lynn's coming in from Alaska. They're starting to flow in now. Welcome. So glad you could all join us again. We're going to let people trickle in a little bit, let the folks on Facebook come and find us, and get started here in just a couple of minutes. So welcome. Cardiff by the Sea, Amherst, Massachusetts, New Jersey. Well, I assume NJ is New Jersey. Canadian Prairies, Romania, Los Angeles, Seaford, South Coast, UK, Spain, Medicine Hat, Alberta, Northern Ireland, Campbell River, BC, Arcata, Oman, Milwaukee. We got a team member in Milwaukee. Redwood Shores, California, Tucson, Arizona. We have a team member. Actually, she just moved. Sorry. Bonnie Doon, right down the street. Good to see you again, Steve. Awesome. This is great. Are we streaming successfully on Facebook, Zach?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Hi, Facebook. Welcome. So glad you could make it. So for those of you on Facebook, if you want to jump over on Zoom, you're welcome to. And at some point later, we're going to have folks raise their hand and bring a few folks on screen to talk to Lee directly and ask their questions. In the meantime, if you have questions in Facebook, feel free to put them in the chat. And that would be great. Or in the comment stream in Facebook. I apologize. If you're over here on Zoom, don't put them in the chat. Put them in the Q&A box, because the person who collects questions is going to be busy doing that on Facebook. And the Q&A box really helps us manage which ones have already been answered and just kind of makes it smooth. So that's what it's for. I'm Ben, and I'm the co-founder of Holden Qi Gong, for anybody who doesn't know me. And I've been working with Lee for several years to kind of make all of this stuff available to folks around the world and make it work online and all that good stuff, and build the team and build the business. So Lee and I are going to sit and have tea with you all. We're going to chat a little bit. We're going to check in, and then at some point we're going to talk about tea for a little bit. And then at some point we're going to open up for Q&A. And then later on, as I said, we'll have a few folks raise their hands and bring them on and see who's here and wants to ask questions. So it's going to be a fun, about an hour and a half. We'll probably wrap up at 12:30. So without further ado, hey, Mr. Holden.
Hey everybody. So good to be here. I got my three favorite people here.
Kid party.
Kid party. That's what happened when we do these on Thursdays. We get a kid party.
I love it.
And we've already, we've done a meditation already this morning.
Excellent.
It was either take a walk on the beach with Charlie or do a meditation. They chose meditation.
Good choice. It's a little cold and gray out there, isn't it?
It is a little cold and gray out today. It's the Santa Cruz summer.
Yep.
So we did a meditation. Do you remember what we did in our meditation? What's the first thing we did?
Gratitude.
Oh, gratitude.
It's always a good place to start, isn't it?
Lots of good stuff. And then what did we do?
Breathing.
Breathing. Hey. And do you remember that part?
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
And visualization.
And visualization. That's a good way to start the day, huh?
That's a beautiful way to start the day.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful.
So,
I suspect we'll do some of that around here too.
I think we're going to do the three-pronged approach. I told them, number one, if you think about the past, you do it in a grateful way.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the present moment, we do mindfulness. And number three, when you think about the future, we visualize what we want to create. And so we did those three parts as a meditation practice. So we've been working on that, and that's been really fun to do. It takes us about, 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
7 minutes to start your day with kids.
I love it. Well, I'm super excited to be here and to be drinking tea. So what are you drinking today, Mr. Holden?
You know what I'm drinking today? I just poured my first cup, haven't even had a sip yet. I am drinking a new brick of tea. It is exciting. I ordered it, usually I order my tea from Hidden Peak or walk down the street and grab tea.
Yep.
And since Ben, you were talking about the green teas and stuff like that, I found that that particular tea company had pu'er, so I'm trying it.
They do.
Yeah, I'm trying it. You said it wasn't great, but I'm trying it. It's a little green for me. It doesn't have the aged, I could see it has a mixture of the show and the shang, and but it's really nice. It's a nice organic pu'er from 1999, and it's fun to just mix it up a little bit.
That's great. Yeah, it's their pu'er is good for the general pu'er market for sure, right?
Yeah,
it's like similar to pu'er you'd get elsewhere, but it's a good quality. They have kind of a direct farm to table approach. What's often happening, move this a little bit. What's often happening with the farm to table approach when it comes to pu'er tea is that the farmers are really great at growing it or going and sourcing it. They're not as great at processing it. So they're learning how to do that these days. But meanwhile, the tea companies that have been doing it for a long time, the factories and so forth, have been doing it for dozens or hundreds of years and are really good at the processing. So we end up, and the aging and the storing and all that. So there's this whole process of getting it to the point of being mature and good and processed fully and so forth. So yeah, often you find those farm to tables are kind of 20 to 30% of that raw pu'er energy. That's a little bit like, it's a little uppity.
Yeah,
or a little,
it definitely I've only drank one pot, and it did have a little kick to it. So I was like, it's probably good for a morning. I got the kids here. It's going to just, if I start, by the end answering your questions really fast, you'll know that I've had too much of this raw pu'er.
Yeah, well, I've been drinking a wonderful lotus brick today, but I'm going to start one of these mini tochas that I've been drinking a lot of recently because I'm getting their a deal that came with a lot of them, and I wanted the one cake that came with that deal so badly that I ended up buying it a few times, and so I have like 100 of these right now, which is kind of crazy. It's the biggest ball of small tea balls I've ever had.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Well, I'm also drinking out of this little antique riceware cup.
Oh, that's neat.
Probably 1911. It's got the classic. Look at this, made in China.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like old school made in China stamp on the bottom, and it's rice glaze, which means you can see the light coming through here a little bit.
Oh yeah,
isn't that interesting?
That's
so
dope.
Every one of those little rice shaped things is in fact a piece of rice they embedded in the clay, and then when they fired it the rice burned off, but then the glaze lives on the outside.
Oh,
so
that's neat.
Like glass poking through, and that's why the light comes through, and they really look amazing when you're drinking in the sunlight.
See, every time I do one of our tea chats, I want to go out and get some more tea stuff.
I understand. It's such a weird little fetish. Well, I got a lovely story somebody wrote in that I want to share actually with the group, because it's a pretty cute story from somebody who wrote in, and let me pull it up. You ever heard of a Brown Betty?
No.
You ever heard of a Brown Betty? So a Brown Betty is a classic teapot from England. It's classic British teaware. And somebody wrote in the story about their Brown Betty, or I guess it was a relative's Brown Betty. And so I'll read the story to you. It says,
okay.
Here in the UK, we drink tea by the bucket, and most of us grew up with very strong tea, sat brewing in a functional ceramic teapot, the Brown Betty teapot. The insides are always glazed, but as the years go by, the buildup of tannins and probably caffeine turns the inside of the pot dark brown or black. And people dream of their first cuppa when they've gone home to mom's. Now the pots are handed down through generations, and any fancy China teapots, those were kept just for visitors, and then the solid brown Betty would be doing its thing. So the story starts with friends' long distance relationships going really well. They eventually became fiancés, and he flew to England to meet the family. Mom brought out the brown Betty and not the posh China, so he was obviously making a good impression. The next day, he was left alone in the house, decided to be helpful. So he cleaned away the breakfast things, and after everything, he did the washing up, and it took him hours. When everybody came home, it's always time for tea. There's a loud shriek from the kitchen, and the mom was shaking with hysteria and collapsed into a chair sobbing, and a friend thought somebody had died. Turns out, there was the brown Betty sitting on the table, spotlessly cleaned inside and out. The boyfriend had spent hours chipping and scrubbing away at the teapot. And needless to say, although they did get married, it didn't last. It only took 3 generations to build up that patina that he had wiped off of there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing story. And I wanted to share that in part because I actually happen to have a brown Betty right here.
Oh.
A classic, speaking of tea wares, it's a classic antique brown Betty. I almost never use it because I'm always drinking out of these tiny little teapots like the one I'm going to drink out of today. But I have had it for a while and I love it. And I got it because it's totally my style. If it's not brown, it's blue. That's kind of my style. So here it is. Classic
Brown Betty.
Yep. If you come over to my house and we have tea British style, then if you're close enough to me, then I'll serve you out of the brown Betty.
Somebody just typed in, "Oh no, my dad did that to one of my mom's teapots, but they're still together." You know, a marriage is gonna last. Yeah,
Lydia says, "I know. Oh no, I know the story. I was cringing halfway through
that
comment."
God,
So
that's funny, right?
yeah, so here we are. I'm not drinking out of the brown Betty today, mostly because I don't. Again, it's I'm sitting here with these.
Isn't there a Brown Betty song?
Is there?
Yes.
There's got to be.
Yeah, somebody typed in. There's a song. I feel like I've heard it. I'm gonna have to play it. Yeah.
Well, how about this? I'm going to get my tea going. Will you lead us in a little bit of a?
Yeah, I'm gonna pour myself one as well, and then we'll go. Let's do a little meditation.
I love it.
Here's what we're gonna do today. We'll do the same meditation I was just describing to my children. We'll start in the present moment. So when you take a sniff of your tea, your body and your senses are always plugged into the present moment. So as you pay attention to either something you're smelling, seeing, hearing, feeling, or even tasting, that is something that is in the present moment, often called mindfulness. And so you drop in and it's kind of clearing the slate of our thinking and our conditioning mind that has a tendency to repeat thoughts over and over again. And so let's take a sniff of the tea and just bring our attention, after we do that, we'll close our eyes and bring our attention into the present moment, just feeling the chair at your back, noticing the ambient noise in the room. And we arrive into the present moment. From the present moment, we have a relationship with our past and a relationship to our perceived or projected future. So as we bring attention to the past, let's cultivate gratitude. You just put attention on a few things that you're grateful for that might have happened today, yesterday. And then as you do in the gratitude, we stir it into the heart center with the teacup. We just make a little circle and just put your attention on a few things you're grateful for. And then bring your attention back to the present moment, feeling the chair at your back. Take a deep breath. Notice the breath and the air coming in through the nose and out through the nose. And now let's look towards the future. And what we're going to do is hold a vision of our highest potential. So as you put your attention into the future, what we want to do is direct it. Because as we know, where energy goes, that's attention. Where attention goes, energy follows. Where your mind goes, the energy starts to gravitate. So let's put attention on what it is that we want to create. Something that's inspiring you, something you're excited about. Just hold some attention in that positive future space. Take a deep breath into that. Let that inspiration and excitement and joy of that future space start to move into your heart center and stir that into your heart center. And as you stir with a cup, it's like you're drawing magnetically that future into your reality. Pull it towards you. And then we'll take a sip and we can cheers into that celebration of that beautiful future that we're creating.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Lee.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you, guys.
It's delightful.
And now we're ready for those wonderful questions.
Yeah, so I see folks have started to trickle a few into the Q&A. And I see there are more folks rolling in to join us, which is great. Welcome, everybody. If you're just joining us now, please do feel free to jump into the Q&A button here on Zoom and ask your questions that way. Or if you're watching on Facebook, then you're welcome to add questions as comments on the Facebook Live, and our host will bring them over to us and ask Lee those questions on your behalf here in the Zoom call a little later. Folks tuning in from Bulgaria and Greece. And,
Wonderful.
Questions are starting to roll in. Great. So, how do you want to tackle these, Lee? Do you want me to look for you and ask him?
Why don't I grab a couple right off the top, and then you can curate some?
Sounds good.
Like we do, and we'll be efficient that way. Good one here from Dan. How do I create a daily routine? And how do I use the subscription to create that daily routine? That's a great question. Sometimes we think about how much time we have. And remember, if you do your Qigong practice, you are going to be more efficient. It is like magic. It creates time. In fact, some of the classes in the subscription, I teach you how to create an extra day of the week, which we all need.
Yep. That's the best reason to be a subscriber.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a good class, huh?
Yeah.
It's called
looking
Qi Day.
Lee Day.
Yeah, a Qi Lee Day. It's like right between Friday and Saturday, so it's almost like an extra weekend day.
That's true.
But better.
Well, my suggestion, right out of the gate is only to practice Qigong on the days that end in Y.
Okay, good. Fantastic. Wow, I haven't heard that. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. You are always the logical one here.
Yeah, that's kind of my job.
Yeah. All right. So how do we create our daily routine? So in China, very often they just start their day with Qigong, because then you've got it out of the way. You always start the day energized and plugged in. They say start your day with a lightning flash of vitality, and I like that. That always is a wonderful way to make sure that you are in your routine. Exercising in the beginning of the day seems to do wonders for our metabolism and increasing our energy. So think about sometime in the morning doing a practice and how much time you have. I always love, to do at least 20 minutes. But if you are in a big hurry, we have the 7-minute routines. That comes from our Qi challenge, the 30-day challenge. Each day is a 7-minute routine. I really like those for a Qi break in the middle of the day. So we always have a 20-minute routine from the subscription. So you could do your 20-minute routine, and then sometime during the day, get in your 7 minutes or do a few Qigong exercises that you like, stand up from your desk, do some movement during the day. personally, my favorite time to do a longer Qigong practice is sunset. So sometime in the early evening, I'll do a longer practice. Now, not everybody can do 2 practices a day. So if you didn't get your morning in, then do your 20 minutes in the afternoon. Now, even better than that is to get an hour of Qigong in. An hour Qigong with a little meditation is really grounds for stepping up your practice. It's great for healing and prevention and things like that. I think of the 20-minute or the 7 minutes as maintenance, keeping our energy maintained, keeping our bodies moving, keeping the Qi circulating. But to really grow our energy into new space, I always like to do an hour. So maybe 3 times a week, you do your hour routine. 3 times a week, you do your 20-minute plus a 7-minute, and then you craft your routine. These are just suggestions. Craft it and make it work for you in your life.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think the key
Great.
to understand
All right, so
also is just that, you know, one of the challenges a lot of folks have with things like this is deciding what to do, and they end up spending a lot of time spinning their wheels deciding which thing to do. So what's great about the subscription is that it's like whatever's the most recent thing in there that I haven't done yet, just do that. And you can do the short 20-minute one, or you could do the long hour one. And if you haven't done the hour, but you did the 20 yesterday, do the hour. And however, we also have all those healing series products, and we have these courses and things like that for deeper dives. So how would you suggest people mix those in if they're working on their high blood pressure, for example, with one of our products?
All right, so your subscription is kind of like your maintenance, and it's your prevention, and it makes sure you get a wide variety of movement and exercise, nutritious movement. All the latest findings is to move your body in a variety of ways and to move your body frequently. So you don't want to just do a workout in the morning and then sit for 10 hours. Mm-hmm. So the idea with Qigong is you get a wide variety of different kinds of movements. We go slow, we stretch, we get some exercise, we do deep knee bends. Sometimes we're on the floor. So the subscription gives you that preventative. You know that if you follow the subscription, you're going to get your nutritious dose of weekly movements. Now, you are an individual. There's specific kinds of things that you might need. Some people hold their stress in their neck and shoulders. Some people stress manifests as high blood pressure or a headache or low back pain. So what I would recommend is you go through our healing series and look and see which one is very specific to me. Which one do I need in my life right now? Some people need more energy, less stress. So we have all those conditioned topics. So do your subscription 3 or 4 days a week and do your prescriptive exercise 2 or 3 days a week. Now you can vary it depending on the week and what you might need that particular day. And then it's always wonderful to do a deeper dive, take one of the workshops, because we did each of those conditions in a workshop where we talk about it. We go into the meditation, we discuss an east-west approach to whether low back pain or digestion. And we really get into that topic so that you can really learn how to heal and wake up your body. So occasionally do one of the workshops, do the practices from the workshop. Maybe let's say that's once a week. And then you're really getting a wonderful variety of movement practice and understanding Chinese medicine and how energy really works to heal your mind and your body. And the ultimate goal is to lower your stress levels, increase your energy so that we move into the heart and we start really enjoying life and all the beautiful things that life has to offer. And we enjoy it more when we're energized, when we have the energy to handle all the stresses, get that out of the way, and then we can really move into the heart to find bliss and joy and happiness. So that's kind of the goal, is to move out of our challenges, our body challenges, our mental, emotional challenges, and into new energetic territory, into new space where we really shift perception and perspective. And then it's fun. And then it's, really elevating. So that's kind of what we're designing all these practices to do.
Fantastic answer. Yeah, that's great. And actually, Dan was the one who asked, and he said, where did it go? Oh, I love that. Do your subscription 3 days per week and your prescription 3 days per week. That's amazing, that's helpful, and just what I came to hear. So
perfect.
Well done.
Right on.
Yeah. Who's
all
next?
Right. Let's see who's next. Mira.
Oh, hey, Mira.
Hey,
Long time
Mira.
no see. Mira is our star student right now. She got full marks yesterday for having done more homework than anybody else. And she's just making sure to get it all straight. So I'm glad that you're back answering or asking more questions.
She got the grade of a Q plus. That's for Qi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please give the names of the points you mentioned in yesterday's class? The low back, mid back, upper back neck points located on the tiger mouth.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is an interesting area. This area right here along the bone. Now these are called microsystems. Now in Chinese medicine, the microsystems have been used for a long time. We all know microsystems as reflexology. So the foot is a microsystem. The whole hand is a microsystem. We have ears as a reflexology. Now, in Chinese medicine, certain masters have used different parts of the hand to reflex to show that the small parts reflect the whole as in a hologram. So this area is particularly potent for healing and working on painful areas of the body. So as you go towards the V where the thumb and the first finger, these bones meet here, this is for the lower body. So that would be low back, knees, ankles, feet. As you move upward here towards the knuckle, that's going to be more upper back. And right in the middle is large intestine 4. We call that the Tylenol point. And that's just for pain anywhere, most specifically designed and used for headaches. So that would be that tiger mouth area for pain. So in Chinese medicine, what seems to work the best is these lower body points. If you had upper body and neck pain, what they usually do is move over right into this area, and that seems to be more effective. Right between these two knuckles, this point here is for neck pain. That's called fall off your pillow. That's translated. So like if you sleep funny, fall off your pillow, get it in stiff neck, this is the point to use. But it's also good for just systemic neck pain, neck and shoulder problems. So it would be that point and any points along that tiger mouth. Good to have in your Qi prescriptions.
Yeah, those are great and very useful. Thanks for sharing those. Did you name the points? I think they were looking for also the
specific names. There are extra points.
They're called.
They are part of the extra points. So
I see. Sorry.
Yeah, they're large intestine 4, but then these extra points and these microsystems. So it's like reflexology.
Okay, got it. Very cool. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, it certainly works. I've used the fall off the pillow point quite a few times for neck pain.
It works amazingly well.
Kind of
In fact, I was at a workshop where this guy, this is my story about that point, because I didn't think it was going to work on this gentleman. He was in his mid 60s, and his whole life he spent, it was a runner, but he was known for running about 6 ultra marathons per year. That's 600-mile races in his 60s. And he'd been doing this for years. So this guy was strong and fit, but so stiff. I mean, he was just like a board. So when you asked him, when you called his name, he had to turn his whole body to look. And he said, oh yeah, for years, this area has been just stuck. And so I brought him up in the middle of class, and I did that point, and I pushed on it real hard. It was very tender, and I had him turn his head. He could go about like this. And after about a minute of working both of these points, 2 minutes, all of a sudden he got all the way to his shoulder. And the next day he came and he's like, look, it's a little further. Wow. Well, a year later, he came to the same workshop, and he said, ever since that day, my neck has been mobile. He says, it's like a miracle. And I was like, that was like miraculous to me. I knew it worked, but I didn't know it worked that well.
Yeah, that is pretty miraculous.
Okay, so somebody's asking, what about varicose veins, and how do we get those to disappear? That's a challenging one. We, in Chinese medicine, it's called blood stagnation. So what we want to do is circulate the blood. We want the energy and the blood to work together to circulate freely. So there's herbs to take. This what I recommend is maybe seeing a good herbalist and a Chinese medicine doctor. Qi Gong is going to be extremely helpful for circulation. So you probably would want a couple of prong approach, meaning you want to do your Qi Gong, especially get into the legs. So I would recommend Qigong for the lower back because we do a lot of stretching, a lot of energy work on the legs. That's where the kidney and the bladder meridian run. So check out Qigong for the lower back and the Qigong low back workshop. Then see an acupuncturist, get some acupuncture and do some herbal treatments to move the circulation.
Great.
Rosita, what can be done for vertigo? Vertigo, usually vertigo is what they call liver chi rising. This liver fire is rising and making us a little bit dizzy. Right around the ears are gallbladder points, and the liver the meridian ends at the top of the head. It's not the last point. The last point of the liver is liver 14, which is in the rib cage. But all meridians have these internal branches. It's like when the water goes underneath the earth. The internal branch of the liver meridian comes up to the head. And so when we calm the liver, it helps with vertigo, headaches, overthinking, mental stress. So you can do points around the ears. So that point right behind the ear. Yesterday in class in the subscription, I had people massaging the ears like this. One finger behind the ear, 3 fingers in front, and you just go up and down vigorously like this. And that is helpful to stabilize the inner ears. It's also a good little wake up. These points, they say, is good for intuition because it helps with that inner listening. So here, and then you're going to want to do liver 3. It's a point between the big toe and the second toe. It's the paired point of large intestine 4. So this point of the tiger mouth, the paired point on the foot is liver 3. And when you do all 4 of them, it's called the 4 gates. And this helps to balance the body's energy. So liver 3, look it up on Google. It is between the webbing of the big toe and the second toe, but it's more on the top of the foot. It's where, let's say this was your big toe, this is your second toe. This is where the toes end, but up through there where those bones come together, that is liver 3 on the top of the foot. That is good for vertigo. Then what you can do in our prescriptions, do Qigong for headaches or high blood pressure, because those are going to bring energy down. So those 2 prescriptions would also be synergistic with a routine for vertigo.
That's great. Super helpful. You know, it's a tricky one, vertigo, and it's kind of all consuming when you have it, I think.
Yeah. I treated vertigo very successfully as an acupuncturist, doing the points here and the points I just described. So get some acupuncture too if you want some outside help.
That's great.
What days does Lee hold the Qigong exercises online? We do 3 days a week usually, and we've been mixing up the times so that we can, so people all over the world can join us. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the afternoon, sometimes it's in the evening. So each week we have different times, but we're trying to make a little more set times for our subscription classes. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, whenever we can. We're sort of settling into, generally speaking, kind of a early afternoon Pacific time on Monday, late or early evening, late afternoon Pacific time on Wednesday, and then earlier morning Pacific time on Friday to help our Europeans make it easy for them to show up. I do believe that Jennifer may have been referring to free classes. We do free trials of the subscription classes, and then periodically we do like a 5-day challenge of free classes, and we do other things like that to give people an opportunity to come and try it out. And then we have a lot of free stuff that we post on the YouTube channel or on Facebook or just sort of out there that you can get. So depending on what you're referring to, but we generally, like right now, we're teaching a lot of live classes for subscribers and then live workshops. And so those are our live classes held over Zoom. Lee does about 20 minutes of Q&A, kind of face-to-face with people who raise their hands over Zoom. And that's been going great. We used to not do that, but then everybody stopped coming to the studio for some reason. I'm not sure why. Yeah, okay, I know why. But yes, so depending on what you're referring to, but for the 3 days a week for the subscription is pretty consistent unless one or more of us are out of town.
Yeah. Wonderful. Lori's asking about a weight loss strategy and using Qigong as a weight loss program. I did work with Weight Watchers for 2 years, and we created all kinds of wonderful content. And then they did all the research, and they found that the Qigong program was the highest rated pilot program that Weight Watchers has ever run. And we had so much good feedback about Qigong and weight loss because it not only addressed just the caloric intake and dietary things that Weight Watchers was known for, we got into movement, stress management, energy, and just feeling good in your body. So it was a wonderful thing that we did with them, and we got a lot of research. It's one of the things that Ben and I talk about, how to craft and create a weight loss program and strategy with some partners. So it's part of our conversation.
Yeah.
And but easy enough. Here's what you do. You want to stimulate your metabolism. And if we think about stress, when we're in stress, fight or flight mode, energy moves away from your digestion and into your muscles. So when we're stressed out, your body's saying, hey, our life is being threatened. We don't need to worry about digesting food at the moment. We need to be in fight or flight. So one great weight loss strategy is to constantly or continuously get out of stress through relaxation. And Qigong is so wonderful for that. Now, the other thing is to bring energy to your metabolism, to your digestive organs. So deep, slow breathing is wonderful. Belly breathing and fanning the fire. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you can do is activate the large muscles in your body by doing some strong exercises like the turtle, like the tiger, like move the body like a river that we do a lot in our subscription class. And one thing that I was teaching the Weight Watchers members is a little Qi massage. And what you do is before eating, you knock on the belly before eating. You just do a little knocking and then a big circle around all the internal organs. Now let me repeat that. Do this before eating, not after a big meal. So you get all the energy, about 2 or 3 minutes of this, and then eat. And when you eat, chew your food, each bite, about 25 times. Now that's way too hard for most people. I don't even do that. So do the first bite 25 times. So you stimulate your metabolism, you slow down, you create that digestion happening in the mouth. Chew your first bite 25 times. See if you can do it maybe another 2 or 3 times throughout your meal to just really chew the food. And then your metabolism, your metabolic fire is stoked. Now, on our programs, do the Qigong for Healthy Digestion workshop. Qigong for Healthy Digestion workshop on the previously recorded workshops. And I saw that we sent out a workshop for the 5 elements. I think that digestion workshop as part of the package is on sale, that went on sale today, right, Ben?
It did.
Okay.
Indeed. Yeah, so anybody who is looking for that, we do have it. It is available on sale. The 5 elements workshop, and it's the physical aspect of each element. So the digestion is the earth element, but we also have, actual heart health for the fire element. We have low back for the water element, the kidney health, and so forth. So it's a very interesting set of 5.
Yeah, that's a great bundle.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. That is, it's always fond memories thinking about how we were working with Weight Watchers, and we did a tour of the United States, a tour of United Kingdom. We did Qigong all over the UK. We went to Brighton and Derby and Newcastle and London, and just did classes all over the UK because they were like, hey, I wonder if the Brits will like it who are in Weight Watchers, and they absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. So
interesting.
Wonderful. Okay, so next question. Denise is asking that she's fairly new to Qigong. She's done yoga for a lot of years, and sometimes she gets cramps in the feet. What should she be doing, and how can she do some new things so that it doesn't interrupt the flow? This is the thing about Qigong. Qigong is going to really strengthen your legs. Think of your legs like the roots of the tree. Your feet and your legs often don't have conditioning. The muscles aren't strong because of a variety of things. So in Qigong, we're going to strengthen the feet, the legs, the knees, the hips, and the low back. That is the roots. Then your spine becomes flexible and strong. And the arms are like the branches of the Qi, light and relaxed. And this gives us proper structure and alignment to our bodies. So you just basically have to keep doing the practice. And what I recommend, Denise, is that you just come up onto your toes and down. To start class, maybe right before as a little warm up to strengthen the feet up onto the toes and down. And then anytime your feet get a little tired, do that 3 or 4 times. Shake out one foot, shake out the other foot, come back to your practice. Over time, it's going to go away. And then we just did Qigong for better balance. And that really helps the feet and the lower legs to really get strong. Qigong for better balance on the website. Wonderful. Let's see, is it possible? Okay. We have Brenda asking what superpower we want. If you have any superhero ability, what would it be? Man.
Well, you know, the classic way to ask this question is, would you rather be able to fly or turn invisible?
Right.
And if they say invisible, then you're not supposed to trust them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Well, I'd rather fly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I know, me too. But you could pick other things.
You could pick other things. And you know, it's an interesting question because we just released Superhuman to our crew.
Right.
And we did see a lot of people with abilities as we traveled around the world that most people would think of as impossible. And so that was really fun to be able to see what the human potential is. And, you know, the takeaway is that our human potential is vast and it's great. And whether we were in Russia talking to psychics and people with incredible mind powers, or in Indonesia with healing powers, or in China with energetic powers, everybody came back to, as a foundation, working with energy to access the human potential. Mm-hmm. And then the next one was integrating energy with mind, certain powers of the mind, being able to train our minds to wake up our innate abilities within ourselves. So, and for me, since 1989, when I saw a documentary called Ring of Fire, it was a 7 VHS tape series. And on the 3rd VHS tape, there was an acupuncturist, an Indonesian man, who lit newspaper on fire. And my jaw dropped. I was like, I want to do that. And so I trained really hard to develop some of those abilities. And, you know, it was really an interesting training because you trained for 3, 4, 5 hours a day and you build up all this energy in your body. But at the end of the day, it is a little bit of a dangerous practice, and it took a lot more training than it was worth because it's just so easy to just light a match. So we have to think about, if it takes this much training to develop certain capabilities, it might be wiser to spend our time investing in compassion and kindness and clarity of mind and open-heartedness. So that's kind of my shift in thinking, was to really cultivate that energy, but use it for healing, both healing myself and developing techniques and tools where people could heal themselves. And that seemed a much greater investment of time to put energy and invest in those kinds of things. As I got older and wiser, that's where I've chosen to spend my time. So thanks for that question. Let's stay open to our human potential.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. The superpower I'm going to pick is teleportation. I've been working on it for a long time, and I still can't do it. It's very frustrating.
That way we could all just jump in to Hawaii with Zach.
Yeah, we can just, exactly. I'll be there.
Okay. I like it.
Hanging out, and we can have Qigong out there in Hawaii tomorrow.
Let's all meet Zach in Hawaii on that beautiful beach.
Cold and gray here for like 10 days in a row. Hey, Zach.
It's been pretty nice here. You guys should definitely come down.
I'm don't rub it in, buddy.
All right.
You left Santa Cruz at the exact right moment.
That's what everyone's saying.
Zach, we'll meet you at the beach with the palm trees, okay?
Sounds good. I'll see you guys
Okay.
there.
And then Brenda says, cool, teleportation and flying. Well, the thing is, if you can teleport, then you can kind of fly because you just teleport an inch at a time through the sky.
Man. And you don't want to have a lapse in consciousness, or you might fall into the Pacific Ocean.
It's a mindfulness practice, really.
Okay, that's good. Back to the basics.
All right.
All right.
Back to Q&A too. What
All
else?
right, back to Q&A. Because of all your great work, we now have an abundance of riches to choose from doing Qigong. My question is about prioritizing the routines. Oh, good. We kind of went into this. I do the subscription, and I'm working on Buddha Palm, and also want some specific issue body work. Could use some help figuring it out. So, and she ended with mahalo, so she must have teleported to Hawaii. So good job. So now with Buddha Palm, do the subscription 3 days a week, do your Buddha Palm practice 3 days a week, and maybe 1 day a week, you could do your very specific body issue practice. If your body issue is, let's say, no upper back and neck pain, and it's very relevant for you, then do that instead of the subscription, perhaps. So 2 days of subscription, 2 days of your upper back and neck, and maybe 2 days of Buddha Palm. That would be a nice way of going through 3 different kinds of practices.
Yeah,
2 days, and 2 days.
I think another thing that's helpful to remember is that because we do have the 20-minute version, or we have a short version of almost all of the healing series items as well. So if you're going to give, you give your longer time, if you have it available, the full hour subscription, if you're coming to live classes, or the longer Buddha Palm routine, for example. And then, if that ends up being your morning routine, well, maybe you could squeeze in an 18 or 20-minute upper back and neck or headaches session, for example. So maybe depending on how much time you have available, if you're doing the longer practice, use the subscription, the Buddha Palm, whatever you're kind of working up to, but then kind of get your short routine in for the condition specific thing too. If you have that much time available, that'd be another recommendation.
Yeah, that's great.
So hard to give people prescriptions, because it's like you said earlier, it's like, well, how much time do you have? And what I love to tell people is every time you can get the hour in, every time you can get the 20 minutes in. And then if you have to have the 30-day challenge of 7-minute routines in your back pocket, so that it's like, oh, didn't do Qigong today. You can do 7 minutes and check the box right before you go to bed. It's like, do something every day. It doesn't matter what it is. And that makes it a little easier, because then you're just like, oh, shoot, I don't have the hour today. I'll do my 20-minute upper back and neck routine or whatever.
Yeah, wonderful.
Cool.
Great. Hey, Dina Reese, nice to see you here on the Q&A, asking about deep exhaustion, chronic fatigue, body aches, muscles in the body. Sleeping or wrestling does not help clear the fatigue. Western medicine would call it chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia. What to do with that? So, in Chinese medicine, this is often called Qi deficiency. When Qi deficiency gets extreme, it's called yang deficiency. So first the Qi gets deficient, and then the inner fire kind of starts to extinguish. So chronic fatigue would usually be kidney yang deficient. That's when it's really hard to get off the couch or out of bed. You move for a little bit, you're very tired. So we need to replenish the energy system. So how do we do it? Sometimes at this particular state, it might be too much to do 20 minutes of Qigong. So let's start with breathing. Breathing is going to be a great source to start replenishing your energy. What you want to do, slow breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale about the count of 4, a little pause, maybe the count of 2. Exhale the count of 4, maybe a little pause, the count of 2. And you do that 10 or 15 minutes of slow, deep breathing. Oxygenate your system. Make your body more oxygen efficient. And then the energy increases. Maybe then what we're going to do is a little Qi massage, tapping on some pressure points. Chest and low back, knock on those points. That starts to help bring the energy up. If you can do a few exercises, knocking on the door of life and open the flow. Just 2 exercises with that deep breathing. The energy starts to build. and build. I know this because I worked with chronic fatigue groups in the past, and we were able to really boost their energy. And I was shocked. I was in my mid-20s. Hey, can you do Qigong for chronic fatigue? Absolutely. I came in, I didn't realize that these people were on the couch. They could not move at all. So I had to rethink my whole game plan. It was a 6-week course, and everybody at the end of the 6 weeks was off the couch, did a full 30-minute Qigong movement class, and was much, much better. So this definitely works, but just start slow and build the energy slowly, first with breath, then with some pressure points, and then with movements that are going to start to increase energy. Then move to 5-element energy flow. Now that's a program that we have on the website with one flow that goes to each of the elements. And you could do, 1 element each day. If you had enough energy, do 1 flow for each of the elements, do a full set. After that, you'd want to do microcosmic orbit. Microcosmic orbit is a great tonification practice. So you're going to stage it gradually, cultivating like an inner garden, cultivating the energy from the inside out. This is great for fatigue, or if you just want more energy, you could do 5-element energy flow and then microcosmic orbit, or just alternate those two as a really wonderful tonification for your energy system.
That's great. That's really helpful to a lot of folks I know.
Yeah.
I've got a couple that I'm gonna pull up because I know Zach is poised and he's got some from Facebook to pull in. So
Yeah, let's do that.
There are a couple of folks who were asking questions. In fact, 2 or 3 folks who were asking questions about. Oh wait, I see you might have picked one for whiplash. Would these points you did on the hands, would they also work for whiplash?
Yes, the points on the hands would work for whiplash.
Great. Brian is asking, might it be possible to download the videos one day? I'm often in an area where there's no cell signal or Wi-Fi. It'd be great if I could take some videos with me when I'm out there. Brian, the subscription videos are not downloadable. People do occasionally pick their favorite, like they go, wow, that one video, I want to do that over and over again. It just really hit them in the right way. And so if you write into support, then you can buy a download of that one subscription class. But all of the other stuff, the workshops, the individual healing series and learning series items and so forth, those are all downloadable. So if you build up a little library of the healing series and learning series items, for example, those are great routines to be able to take with you on an iPad and go out in the woods or whatever. And it's pretty great. Another one is, somebody's asking about how to relax the pelvic area, especially if there was a hip issue or bursitis. I know a lot of people have issues with the pelvic area, so it's probably worth talking about.
Yeah. So for that area, start off with deep abdominal breathing, slow, deep breathing into the belly. Then we have wonderful exercises. Even knocking on the door of life brings a lot of energy to that area because of the gentle twisting. Then we can also do slow hip circles, which we do a lot in class. And then from hip circles, we often will do arm spirals where we're doing a full body movement, connecting the movement of the hips to the rest of the joints in the body. And then, an exercise like the hip swings, which I often refer to as the Irish folk dance meeting Qigong, where you're swinging the leg one side to the other. And we do this a lot in class as well. So if you want some of those exercises, they are on the program Qigong for Healthy Joints. And we do a whole hip sequence plus all the other joints in the body. So that would be good.
That's a great one.
Ben, I'm seeing an exercise here that I'll take from Conrad. He's talking about the oxygen advantage and the idea of the author talking about how, a lot of research shows that we consume oxygen too much. And this is quite true. A lot of research is showing that what we want to do is slow down the breathing so that we're not overly oxygenated. Now, when we are stressed, we're going to breathe faster and we're going to overly oxygenate. And this makes the body less efficient in how we consume and utilize oxygen. So unfortunately, we have turned into a society that overconsumes. We overconsume food, but we also overconsume oxygen. So what's the antidote to this? It is to slow down. So when you're doing your Qigong practice, you are moving slowly and you're breathing in and out through the nose, which slows down the rate of oxygen that's brought into the body. So when you inhale through the mouth, too much oxygen comes in too fast. And in fact, what we want is your body to be oxygen efficient, which means it's really interesting that we want to slow the breath down so that there's more carbon dioxide in the body, which makes the oxygen release out of the hemoglobin of your blood. So it's this kind of reversal of what we're thinking. So slow breathing is going to be best. Now, that doesn't mean that we should never exhale out through the mouth or do mouth breathing or to do some kind of fast breathing. It is like weightlifting. At various times, if you want to strengthen your respiratory system, strategically, you put your respiratory system under stress. You 30 seconds, a minute. It's like weightlifting for your lungs. Then the rest of the time, we try to breathe slowly in and out through the nose. So yes, we want to slow breathe unless strategically certain parts of our practice, we're training the respiratory system or we're doing some energy work where we want to let go, like you're stretching your neck. It's like, oh, I'm carrying a lot of stress here. You breathe it out through the mouth as a way to release that very specifically, very strategically the rest of the time. And if you can, the rest of the day, try to breathe only in and out through your nose. And so that would be a great strategy for improved breathing.
Great. Good one.
Good.
I think let's take a few from Zach while we have some time left here, since he's been curating our Facebook people's questions. And I'm sure there's quite a few.
Yeah, we got everyone over on Facebook eager for these. We got the first one coming from Liz. What are your tips for inflammation?
Inflammation, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, there's so many ways in which we can control inflammation. It comes back to stress again, because when your nervous system is all stressed out, we aren't processing inflammation or clearing inflammation in the same way. So stress is going to be one of those things that increase inflammation, and parasympathetic relaxation is going to decrease inflammation. So that's a great activation of our inner healer right then and there. So every day, improve the way in which we're dealing with stress, lower our stress levels. Also improving Qi circulation, get the Qi to circulate, because it's flushing out and improving. Inflammation often is seen as excess heat and so too much heat in the body, and stagnation, blood stagnation. So we want the blood and the energy to balance, and Qigong does that as well. So then we can look at dietary things, lower the inflammatory foods, increase the foods that are anti-inflammatory. What seems to be really good is food that has high fatty acids, walnuts and avocados, and good sources of fish oil, flax seeds, chia seeds. Those kinds of things help with inflammation. Then the magic of like turmeric and ginger. Those would be great. Turmeric and ginger. Sometimes what I do is I just take turmeric root and ginger root, throw it in my smoothie, and get a good dose of anti-inflammatories really simply. That way it doesn't taste great, but I just, I make myself some Jedi juice almost every morning with ginger, turmeric, beets, lemon, kale, and just, we just pound it. If you want to take it in a capsule, just take a turmeric capsule, and that's great for inflammation.
I like that name, Jedi Juice.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
Definitely. Next up, we have a question from Tatiana. Could you please show me once more again the point on the hand for neck pain?
Right there, right between the first and second knuckle, real close to them, right there.
Perfect. And next up from Leslie, what can we do with Qigong for meniscus tears?
Meniscus tears. That's a hard one. So we want to, again, improve circulation to this area because the meniscus is the cartilage in between the knees. And when we tear a meniscus, it's said that we don't often get enough blood supply for it to heal. So lower the inflammation, improve the circulation into that area. So you just take the knee and slap right on the front of the knees, tapping either like this. Let's say this is the knee joint. Right underneath, there's these 2 points called the eyes of the knees. So you have your patellar tendon here, and then you're just going to tap with both hands on the sides of the knee like this. You can slap and improve the circulation, then alternate between ice and heat to flush the circulation in and out through the knee.
Perfect. And next we have a question from Christina. Is it okay to do healing sounds during pregnancy, on a female monthly cycle, or while sick?
Healing sounds is great for pregnancy. Absolutely. And then the pressure point here for pregnancy, P6. This is for morning sickness. And morning sickness doesn't happen just in the mornings. It can be all day long. So that one, 3 fingers up from the crease of the wrist, pericardium 6, massage it, buy some of those wristbands, put that point there.
And next a question from Tori. How would you treat trigger thumb?
Trigger thumb, again, what we want, that's trigger thumb is when the thumb clicks, like this tendon gets real tight, and it's not, there's not a smooth movement through the thumb, and it can click or get stuck. So again, that's Qi stagnation. We want the energy to move through there. So we have the Qi Gong for arms, wrists, and hands as part of our healing series. So get that, work with that, and then alternate hot and cold with the hand. Put it in an ice bucket, 3-4 minutes in and out, and a nice hot bucket of water in and out, and go back and forth, flush the circulation in and there. Do that with Qigong for arms, wrists, and hands.
Perfect. And next a question from John. I was wondering what are the benefits of bone breathing? Also, what are some tips for using Qigong with insomnia?
Insomnia. That's a big one, right? Insomnia. We have the Qigong for good sleep. We did that as a workshop. Lots of tips, pressure points, and different ways, because there's a lot of different kinds of insomnia. I can't fall asleep. I wake up at 3 a.m. I only sleep for 5 hours. I don't sleep well enough and get enough rest. So we have lots of tools and tips to do that. Pressure points for insomnia, the very bottom of the foot. Massage the bottom of the foot, specifically kidney 1, which is called the bubbling springs. And that is a wonderful foot. That's a wonderful foot. It's a wonderful point for better sleep. So you might sit at the edge of your bed, put one foot on your lap, massage the bottom of the foot, get some nice oil, or just do pressure points. And then do the other foot. Even better, do it with your partner. I'll do your feet, you do mine. That is a great point. And healing sounds, specifically pulling down the heavens with the triple warmer sound. If you know all 6 healing sounds, even better. But you come up and then you exhale the long sigh, just a, that's spelled H-E-E-E. And you do that about 9 times, and that takes the energy, the heat out of the head so that our mind isn't overly active before we go to sleep.
Perfect. And next we have a question from Marla. I'm having pain in my back and right knee. I have overdone my practice. What can I do to improve and release this pain?
Pain in the back. Yeah, sometimes we overdo maybe the either warm-ups or the invigorating exercises. So, just take it easy. Now focus in on your flows. Do flowing movements that tonify the kidneys. So like the fountain, nice and slow. Zen circles help to tonify the kidneys. I just did a bonus routine for the lower back that's going to be part of our low back sequence that we're releasing, Qigong for the lower back, that came out today as part of that bundle. And what I had people do is the wave, nice, slow wave-like movement just to coax the energy. So the wave, the fountain, and Zen circles. Focus in on your flows while that inflammation or irritation starts to relax before you go back into your maybe deep stretches or invigorating exercises.
And we have a question from Carol. Do you know of a guide of some type for the various pressure points that are used for healing different parts of the body?
Pressure points, you can look for a shiatsu book. They have a lot of good pressure points. The app that I use is called a Manual of Acupuncture. So in your app store, if you look up a Manual of Acupuncture, you're going to get all the points. It's for acupuncturists, but I find it is the best illustrated book for pressure points. The book itself is $150. The app is about $36. So it's a very expensive app, but it has videos and pressure points and all the Chinese medicine theory. So it's a very robust, but you could look up points very easily in that book or in that app.
Perfect. And there's just a couple more questions over here from Kathy. During regular practice, I know you direct most of the time, but generally, do we breathe in through the nose or exhale through the nose?
Yeah, that was just a good question I answered with Conrad. So let's say 95% of the time, even through life, try to breathe in and out through your nose. Even like go for a vigorous walk and try just breathing in and out through the nose. You really open your respiratory system and try to breathe slowly. So slow down your breathing. And then strategically, when you're clearing tension out of the body, that's when we exhale through the mouth. So when we're stretching or we're thinking about, let's say, I want to release negative energy I might have picked up from somebody else. You'll see like when we do shaking, that's the release of the energy. And then we strategically use that to clear or purge old energy out. Otherwise, stay with in, out through the nose.
Wonderful. And last question over here. When we have practice, are we standing and we are standing as usual? Is the pelvic floor activated or relaxed, or does it depend on the situation or practice?
It depends on the situation and practice. If you're drawing energy up the spine, like in the microcosmic orbit, that's when you can squeeze the pelvic floor as a way to pump the energy through these channels. So when you squeeze the pelvic floor, which is a great exercise to help to elevate your energy, think about it moving the energy up, and then when you relax, the energy moves down. So you don't have to always do it, but maybe on a few exercises during your practice, you can squeeze and relax. A great practice is to squeeze and relax the pelvic floor some other time when you're not doing Qigong 100 times a day. 100 times a day. Look, Ben's doing it right now. You can tell.
Oh, so relaxed. Squeezing. Oh,
Relaxing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great for the prostate. It's great. Women know this exercise as Kegel exercises because the pelvic floor, think of it as the bottom of the cup. The pelvic floor, if the pelvic floor isn't strong, what they say is that the Qi starts to move out or leaks from the body. We don't want leaky Qi. So keep that pelvic floor strong. In fact, it's one of the markers in Western medicine to determine biological age, strength of the pelvic floor. So get in your 100 squeezes a day if you can while you're driving, while you're just sitting watching TV, squeeze, relax. And that keeps the pelvic floor strong. It's great for prostates, internal organ energy, and all kinds of things. So do that. But while you're doing your Qigong, you don't have to always be thinking about when do I squeeze my pelvic floor? It's a little bit distracting unless you're doing something very specific like drawing the energy up the spine and circulate it in the microcosmic orbit.
Great. Well, as Zach said, I think that was the last one from Facebook. So here we are, home stretching, and we got a couple folks who are raising their hands. Real quick, I wanted to help a few folks miss the name of the acupuncture app. So it's a manual of acupuncture, and it's by Peter Deadman, is the author of the book. And so the app is from his lineage as well. And so look for that name, or you can go look for his website and then find a link to the app if you're not sure that you're downloading the right app. I think seems like $36 is about right. I think maybe Canadian, I'm not sure, but it's somewhere in that range, $20 to $40. So Lee, let's pull a couple people in and say hello.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I see a few folks have their hands raised, and I want to make sure that they're still here. So I'm going to lower all the hands, and I know who you were. So go ahead and raise your hands, and if you already had your hand raised, then we'll call on you. And here we are. Okay, so we're going to pull in Janet first. and see her in just a moment and see what she's got to say.
Okay.
Hi, Janet. You've got the power. And hopefully you're finding the buttons. There it is.
On July 15th, hi, you did a class that included some Tai Chi movements. And I have gone back to that every day. I'm still trying to learn them. I did it in my 20s, but that was a long time ago. And I was wondering if you have any other classes where you included some Tai Chi sets.
That's great. You know, we talk about that all the time and how to strategically film Tai Chi in the subscription so that people can see it. Because I love to teach these little short sets that are really, that bring in the benefits of Tai Chi, but you don't have to memorize a long form. And I think we have something worked out because it's a little bit hard to follow me while with the camera setup that we have, but we got some new cameras. Ben and team are working on some ways in which we can use those cameras so that we can see Tai Chi moves as well. So we can add these short forms in. So look out for those in the subscriptions. They're probably going to be coming sometime soon.
Good,
Yeah,
thank you
I
very
can't
much.
promise anything. We're in experimental mode. Lee likes to say things like that, and then maybe it'll come true, maybe it won't, because he doesn't know. He's just like, I can do the Tai Chi. You guys ready? And we're like, yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, when we did those classes, the people who had some experience doing Tai Chi found them easy to follow, and then a lot of people didn't. And so it's hard if you've really never done it. You don't really know what the feet are doing, what the legs are doing. And we are working on ways to improve our ability to actually capture that type of stuff without having a cameraman running around following him. And yeah. So, and if we get that working, one of the things that we do is a Tai Chi week in Tai Chi week-long retreats where Lee will build up a longer set. And it's pretty great. I actually really loved it. And if you've done Qi Gong for a while, showing up and doing Tai Chi is a really intense and rich experience because now it's very tonifying. It builds a lot of energy. And when you're not really sensitive to energy inside the body, it's like, oh, this is relaxing. It's nice. But when you are, it's like, wow, this is really potent. So someday we'd like to be able to bring that full week-long training equivalent into a course as well.
But even those little parts that you put in on July 15th when you were starting with catching the bird or whatever that is, and then you went into a few more movements, that was perfect. And I could follow it fine. And you're such a good teacher that you walked us through and you talked us through. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
We'll Ben and I will talk about it and we'll figure out a way to, you know, to do some of that in sometime in the future, whether we do a little course or bring it in class or something that we want to do, because it's such a great adjunct to Qigong practice.
Yep. And once we get it down, it's all the above. He'll just do it at a moment's notice. Well, thanks so much, Janet. Nice to see
Thank
you.
you.
And we'll see you in class.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, we have Natalie. Natalie will be coming to join us. And hi, Natalie. You've got the power to press the buttons. And there we are. We see you. Still have to unmute though. There we are.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. All right. Is Lee there? I see you.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Lee. So I go way back to your teacher training in Poughkeepsie, New York, 2014.
Oh, I remember. Nice to see you.
Yeah, and I've been teaching ever since. I love it. I love keeping people healthy. And so my question, it's a simple one for you. This summer, I'm teaching outdoor classes, and it's hot and humid.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do teach early in the morning, like 9 or 9:30, but I was just curious about what you might suggest.
Okay, so when it's hot, it's just remind people, because sometimes it's a state of mind, they start getting agitated. And we as Westerners and modern life people, we often aren't used to extremes. We like it about 68 to 75, and that's all we can tolerate. It's good for us to go out in cold or go out in the heat and strengthen our body's energy system to be able to process, to cool down. So it's a little bit like body conditioning. It's actually good for us to go into cold or heat and become stronger. Now that is good. It's good to do if we have some energy. It's not good to do if we're really depleted. If we're really depleted energetically, those extremes could deplete us more. So I think the heat is even better though for that. You just want to then not do real vigorous exercises. Like when you're doing flows in the heat, think of the heat going through all the joints and clearing muscular tension and lengthening the muscles and burning away old energy. So get their minds lined up to what the heat can do if we're in a non-resistant space. So that's what I always like to do. If it's hot out, do more flows and then visualizations. Oh, this is clearing tension out of my body. It's melting away the stagnation. It's melting the pain. I remember doing Qi Gong in a training when I was in Greece. It was about 110 degrees with 90% humidity. And we did really strong practices in the heat. And then we did a kind of like a cold plunge afterwards. It was awesome. So
Yeah.
it can work. Just get people in the right state of mind by those kinds of visualizations.
That's awesome. That wording, I haven't been using that, so I'll add that in. And I do notice the flows are just magical when and I tend to do more of them. So yeah, thank you for the advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Hey,
coming.
Ben, here's a good one right here because we were talking about it. Fatima was asking if she's a teacher trainer and in the tier 1 program, is it a good idea to buy the 5 elements course or is it repetitive? And this 5 element course is not repetitive because we zero in on the element and maybe a very specific condition like water element and the lower back, like the earth element and digestion. In the 5 element tier 1 course or in the immersion, we really focus in on the element in general, and this gives you something very specific to focus on.
Well, and also it's the specifically the physical aspect in large part, right? So the reason we chose to do low back and digestion is that while the 5 elements have all dimensions, all the 3 treasures kind of have it's like the emotional stuff that's tied to the fire element or the emotional stuff that's tied to the water element. They also all have these physical representations. And so the, going a deep dive into that specific condition, as you say, this particular series is very much about the physical aspect of the 5 elements.
Yeah. And we released that. Somebody was asking where to find that. We released that over email today.
Yeah. Zach also posted something in the chat. I'm discovering that it looks like the team hasn't put a banner up on the website. So it seems like if you didn't get the email, you're not aware of it. So I'll see if they can fix that in the next day. But in the meantime, Zach will repost the link in the chat here in Zoom to that special page. There it is. Good job, Zach. He's on his game. Great. Good question. So now we have Mita, I presume. I did this last time. I think I mispronounced her name last time. I'm Mita or Meta. I think I mispronounced your name last time, I'm pretty sure, but we'll see if I got it right this time. I think you still need to unmute.
Click your unmute button. The bottom
Okay,
left.
yeah,
there you go.
Cool.
Great. Nice to see you guys. Okay.
Nice to see you too. How do you pronounce your name?
Mette.
Mette.
I was in Africa for many years and they called me Metta, which I find very flattering because that's a whole meditation
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, so I prefer that actually.
Okay.
But in Denmark, I'm just Mette. Okay, I was diagnosed with breast cancer here in the beginning of June, and I've had 2 operations, and now I'm healing, and I was doing I was practicing iron shirt quite intensively since it came out in January, and I really loved it, but I stopped. And then I have two questions. One is my healing practice, where I'm doing healing sounds in the evening, the standing practice, and sometimes also your sitting practice. And then I started on Buddha palms,
Yes.
which are in the mornings. I'm doing that, the program there, and I'm gonna expand on that. So do you have any more recommendations of what I could do?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. You're doing really great. So I would say, yes, Buddha palm in the morning or iron shirt in the morning and healing sounds at night. Fantastic. Focus a little bit more on when you do the lung sound, do the vocalized lung sound like zzz, and just do more of that maybe throughout the day. Just take a little break, do 6 or 5 or 6 throughout the day, do a little tapping on the chest. Maybe just do a few more things. The other thing I would recommend that you could do, there's a Qigong practice. It's specifically for breast health. It's breast massage. So you just circle around like this and then hold the hands with healing energy over the breast tissue. I might add that to your practice, but otherwise you're doing it ideally. That is really great. Something strong and powerful in the morning to increase your energy. Healing sounds at night. Wonderful. Now just get in middle of the day, 5 minutes of the healing sounds and maybe some breast massage. We'll just invigorate all the breast tissue and then just send some healing energy there.
I got the workshop about the sexual energy workshop, and I think there was some healing massage there.
Yeah,
okay.
Review that. That would be perfect to add.
I'm drawing all the healing sounds.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Today I just made the kidneys, but I want to make all of them.
Wow, would you send us photos of those?
Of course I would.
Thank
I would
you.
like that.
Just
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
That's
amazing.
gorgeous.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing this also as part of my healing. I'm actually a leader I'm leading 2 big institutions, but now I'm just painting and doing Qigong and eating well.
Wow, wonderful.
Okay, but thank you very much. It is so inspiring what you guys are doing. It's really, you're great. I'm a big fan.
Thanks, Meta.
Okay, see you next time. Yeah, and I sent you all my pictures when I sent you the bundle when I made them.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank
See
you.
you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Wonderful.
Okay, great. Well, I know we've only got a couple minutes left, so I'd love to take a moment and have you lead us in some sort of closing and sort of sign off and something to take with us into the rest of our day as you like.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for the comments. And, we get together, your inspiration and your appreciation of all the work we do really inspires us. And so, if we can just keep inspiring each other, we got a great thing going here. And it's really about, inspiration. We think about this word, it's to breathe in the spirit, the invisible energy. The spiritual energy is invisible. The definition of a mystic, somebody who believes in the reality of the invisible, and Qi is invisible. And in Qigong, they say life is ruled by invisible forces. And this is so true. So it's about making the invisible visible, from immaterial to material, from formless to form. And so as we start in this inspirational space, an idea, an inspiration, Qi starts to condense to form, manifest reality. So it goes from an inspiration into form. So what we can do, let's just tune into our inspirations, how we can get inspired, how we can hold a higher vision, both in our own lives. And I think what the world is calling for in these challenging times is a higher vision, a guiding light that we can really put our energy into, where we live in more harmonious way and a healthier way with each other and with our planet. So let's just take a few deep breaths to breathe in the spirit and just hold some attentiveness to that higher vision. Your breath is invisible, your mind is invisible, The energy is invisible. First comes the formless, then comes the form. And thank you all so much for joining today. It was another inspiring conversation, great questions, and I look forward to our next tea session. And until then, cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks again for coming. We'll see you soon. Bye.